Alright, there's not too many videos on YouTube on a 570. This is a 570 Rzr on anything to do with the motor. And this one here, we think we might have some dust digestion, so we're going to go ahead and put a new top end on it. We have a new jug, a new piston. We went with the Wiseco high compression piston, and all that's over here. He's got his Wiseco piston here. It's a stock bore, but it's bumped up the compression a little bit. Got a brand new cylinder, all from Polaris. This is only like 120 bucks for the full kit, the Wiseco piston, and it's less than 100 bucks for a brand new jug. So it's way cheaper instead of having to go and getting bored and stuff and waiting. We got all new gaskets and seals. So what we're first going to do here, we already drained all the antifreeze, which is down here. Just pull that bottom radiator hose and drain it out. It drains out through the skid plate pretty well when it flaps over. Next, we're going to take out the timing chain tensioner and just start dissecting the top end on it. And we already removed the air box, the bed, the snorkels, fuel rail, throttle body, and see what happens next. Okay, so since there's not much information on the internet on how to time one of these things or anything to do with the motor, decided to make a video to show and help y'all. This is the 570. It should be the Sportsman, Rzr, everything's the same. It's a dual overhead cam setup. What you want to do to time it is down here in the inspection hole, there is a V right there next to that line. That needs to be in the inspection hole. The timing marks on the intake cam will have the eyes, and then E for the exhaust cam. The lobes do need to be facing out here and here, facing out on that side, facing out on this side. They do make an inspection plate, or they call it a cam timing plate, that'll fit down into these grooves on the end of the cams here. I don't really see the need for that, just because it would just, I guess, hold it in place. And so what you can do to turn the motor is get a 10mm and just put it on to one of these two here, and then just turn it, and it'll slowly turn over both cams. I actually used a open end and a socket to just help out with it. Other than that, just make sure your timing marks are parallel to the gasket surface there. And once again, I for intake, E for exhaust. There is a E mark right here on the top left and an I over here on the top right, just to help do it. And also to make sure you're on top dead center, you can obviously put your screwdriver in the spark plug hole, and if it sits down and it's not too far down in there, then you know it's up at the top of the cylinder. Next, what we're going to do is go ahead and take off the cam chain tensioner, and we'll be able to pull off the camshafts. See you later. Okay, I'm just kind of going back through what we've already done on as far as disassembling this motor. I'm the only one here. That's kind of why you just have that camera view the way you got. But first, you want to take off these three. There's just three star fittings. Just want to take that off, pull those bolts out, pull out the washers. I got new washers to go back onto that because they're a rubber seal washer. First, you'll pull that off. So that aside, you'll have a rubber gasket around here. You can just pull that off with it. You got two 5/16 bolts up here on top. I guess it's just a like a guide to make sure your cam timing chain doesn't come off. Just want to back those out. That'll come off together as an assembly. Put it up over here. Then you got your cam holders. You got, I believe, 6 5/16 bolts also holding that down. Just loosen all those up. Grab it on each side there. Pull straight up. There's a few dowel pins in there, so straight up's the best. Pull that off all as one assembly. You want to come over here, and you have your, of course, your two cams already with the tensioner taken out. You just take that, pick up on the chain, pick up on your cam, slide it out through the top. Same with the exhaust side. There's also a guide or a bolt with a guide down there at the bottom of the crankcase, so this cam or this timing chain will never fall off down in the bottom, so you can almost let it dangle. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it because I got a magnet, and that's so far on this part. So you'll just take these, put them aside, and now we'll be able to get the head off. Okay, now that you got all that off, even with the same 5/16 socket, you want to take and remove these two side bolts. Go ahead and throw these away. I got new ones. I always get new ones for anything to do with the head and holding it all down. I even got new head studs. So basically these are going to be thrown away. Now what you want to do here as far as the main bolts, you want to back each one of these off. There's 4 in here. You want to back them off about 1/8 of a turn each. It is a 14 millimeter, so you just want to turn it a little bit. And I'll jump across. Keep doing that. Back to the original, the first one. You can already actually hear it flexing and cracking coming off. That one's broke loose. Broke loose. There we go. You just want to loosen these all up, pull them out. Now this washer that's on these bolts will come off with the bolt. Now when you do go and take this head off, you do not want to tip it over or tilt to the side at all, because you have these buckets with shims underneath there, and if these fall out and the shims get all mixed up, it's not good, because each one's designed for a specific gap. So just make sure when you take these out to not tip this over and just move it over. I still have 1 or 2 things to disconnect back over here, and we'll pick up then. Okay, I'm going to try to pick up where I left off. In order to get the head off, of course, you got to disconnect the fuel line, the radiator hose, the top radiator hose. You drain it from the bottom one down here. You take your throttle body off, your injector wire, your exhaust. You can leave the exhaust on the bike. Just take off the header. It's just 3 Allen bolts right there. Once again, your side engine case covers, or your cylinder covers. You have a, I think it's coolant antifreeze return line, your sensor there. And then once you got all of your bolts out, you should just be able to pick up, rock a little bit, pick straight up. Your gasket will come off with it, or at least mine did. We'll set it over here to the side. All my parts laid out. And there is the piston. You have your piston, your timing chain down there, your 2 valve or your chain guides. Of course, you're gonna have some antifreeze around it. Also, whenever I'll go over this too when I'm putting it back in, but you always want to make sure that it has an exhaust or an arrow or some kind of indication, making sure that it's the exhaust side of the cylinder or the piston. That's about it. I should actually be ready to go ahead and take off the cylinder. So I can do that. Just grab a magnet here, pick up the chain. I usually just droop them over. The weight of the magnet and hold it down. That's good. Just drop it. Alright, so in order to get this off, just grab it, pick it up, wiggle it back and forth. And the cylinder will come off. Of course, that's reason stuff like that is why you always want to change your oil after a mud rebuild. Of course, after you break in oil and your fluids and everything might fall into it. So that's it, and then we'll just remove the cylinder and the base gasket and pretty much ready to go ahead with the new stuff. Alright, so here we are in the process of kind of rebuilding and freshening up the head a little bit. It wasn't too bad. Pulled out all the, of course, the valves, laid them out, top left, top right, bottom right. The valves had a lot of carbon buildup on them, but got them all pretty well cleaned up. I still got to seat them. I got some compound and everything to clean up the seats a little bit, clean up the head. It's looking pretty good. All I have is, I use this on all my rebuilds. It's from Harbor Freight, assisted valve spring compressor. I always pretty much use this one, or and of course the tool. I use that for the Honda 300 and all the other videos I have. Got a new exhaust gasket, cleaned up the exhaust, and here's the tool. So next we'll be going ahead and seating the valves. Okay, so far we've got one valve seat done. I just kind of want to show you a little comparison and kind of what to look out for and steps I've done. First you want to go ahead and get some valve grinding compound. Let's use the Permatex stuff from O'Reilly's. You want to get the valve lapping tool. I really don't like this thing. It just relies on suction cup. Doesn't really work that well, but you just pretty much put it in your hands and rub it back and forth like you're trying to start a fire. Now what you want to look out for is, I hope we can get some of this, is there's on this one here you got a kind of a dark gray ring around the seat there. That's what you want to look out for. You want a nice consistent gray, kind of a dark gray, light gray ring all the way around, right there where it meets the cylinder head. This one here is just a used one, which I haven't done yet, and you got just a dark color to it. It's not a real good mating surface. Same thing on your valve seats actually here. Let's see if we can get better light. If you can see right there, all the way around it's nice and smooth and it doesn't have any pits or discoloration. This one here's got, I mean, nothing bad that would really mess this up, but a little there, like on this one here, this doesn't turn out very good. But you can see like all the different colors and the pits and stuff, and you'll be able to tell too. So that's what you want to kind of clear out just by putting the valve in here. You got to listen for it too. It's going to be a nice kind of smooth sound after the grinding goes away. It's going to be consistent. And when you're doing it, you want to turn it, pick it up, dap it down a few times, turn it, do that a few times. And I do about two rounds, I guess you could call it. Putting the valve compound on there, not a lot, just enough. Doing it, taking it out, cleaning it off, looking at it, doing it again. And 2 times usually cleans it up pretty well. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, now we already got everything put together. We put the new piston in the cylinder. It was a brand new cylinder. I didn't film that just because it's nerve-wracking. I just don't like doing it. So next we're going to go ahead and put the double gasket crust washer goes on there. Make sure they're seated in the dowel pins here. Try to make your cylinder go, or your piston go top dead center. And then next you want to take your cylinder head here and just slide it on. Kind of line up the dowel pins. Press it on there. Give it a little taps. Check your gaskets, make sure they're still aligned and still in there properly. Next we're going to go ahead and get your 4 new bolts. And then you can come down here. We're using some just Mobile 1 040. What you want to do is just put your finger in there, go around the threads, go up and down the bolt. On both sides of the washer here, you want to put oil on there and up there. You want to go ahead and do that for each one, because if you put it in there and there is any dry spots, it could mess with your torque settings. Alright, then we'll go back up here. Put them on each corner. Then you want to go ahead and get those hand tight. Let's get them started. Pretty long-winded. Alright, well I'm going to cut that off right now and I'll come back with the torque settings and specifications. Okay, so we put the head back on it. I didn't want to bore y'all with the sequence as far as torquing them down goes, but first you want to put all your bolts in there, and you want to start with, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the sequence to them. These two on the outer edge here will come later. First you want to do 21 foot-pounds of torque per bolt, each corner, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 26, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you want to do an additional 180-degree turn. It's just a half of a turn, so you say start here and back on this side for each one. And then this one over here was, I think, let me check real quick. It was something in inch-pounds. I think it was 27. No, 89. So 89 inch-pounds on the outside. Next, we're going to be setting the timing on these things. You basically just want to keep that. I got some assembly lube here. Just put it there. I know oil will take care of this, but it's good stuff, so I use it. Put that down. Next, what you want to do is take your chain, pick it up, get your exhaust cam, set it in there. Actually, I want to put some more lube on the journals here.
Both other ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Might be a lot, but. And then you want to take these, set this in there. We'll worry about all the fine tuning later. Basically, all right. So come over here on this side. Okay. All right. So you see how these two marks right here are not even so far? You basically just want to pick up, drop it down one, and there you go. All right, back up. And now you see that these marks are now even to the cylinder head, or to the gasket surface right here. So next you want to get your intake cam. Do the same thing here. Drop it down in there. You gotta pick up on it. There you go. And set it. See, so it's still not right there. So you basically just want to pick it up and walk it over. One more. Now let's see what that looks like. Nope, one more. Right there. Alright, so right here, we haven't tightened it up yet though, but I don't know if you can get that good on camera. But we got two eyes level with this, and then two exhaust E markings on there level to this. Right here we have an eye back at where we originally started up here, and the E over here, and then up top here, both cam lobes are facing out. That one that way, this one that way, facing outwards of each other. And then we'll go from there.